Hello, my name is Nanaifo Beniel, and welcome to my first episode on TechChef Africa, a dialogue with tech entrepreneurs in the kitchen. As I promised, today is going to be exciting and as well as informative. But before I dive into today's episode, let me first use this opportunity to thank all my followers on my social media platforms and as well as my subscribers who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. And thank you so much for tuning in right now. This is TechChef Africa, the very first of its kind in Ghana and Africa. So I know you've all been wondering, who is the first guest to be hosted on this show? And yeah, I know, I'm excited as you are. But let me just give you a little bit intro about our guest. Okay, so our very first guest is an entrepreneur, engineer, and innovator who is passionate about leveraging technology to solve some of Africa's most pressing problems. He currently leads a team at a software company where he serves as a CEO and the head of product development. At his company, they are developing affordable technologies to solve problems in the world's food system with a focus in Africa. Without wasting much time, let me just bring him in. Welcome, the CEO of Sesi Technologies, Isaac Sesi. Welcome to TechChef Africa.
Okay.
Charlie, how have you been? It's been a while. How have you been?
Yeah. It's been like a year or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm tired, and except I'm upset that you have brought me here to come and embarrass myself in front of the whole world. I am upset.
But I'm actually happy to have you here. Do you know why?
Why?
Because you are the very first guest for me to host.
I see.
So meaning that I am not going to forget the taste of your food.
Okay.
After eating it.
All right.
That's the most interesting aspect.
I hope you have. I hope you have a first aid kit.
Yes, I have it.
With Imodium inside.
I have everything.
Just in case things go wrong.
I have it.
Disclaimer: I have warned her. I have warned her.
Okay. Sesi, what's your favorite car?
My favorite car. Oh my God, I love Teslas. Love Tesla.
Why?
I like, when you sit in a car and you feel like you're not in this world. That's
sir.
Feeling you get when you sit in a Tesla. Jeez.
Why not Toyota?
Oh, come on. Everybody has a Toyota.
Or Hyundai.
Oh, come on. Just if I'm not buying a Tesla, if the car I'm buying is not a Tesla, then I'm not buying it.
Hey.
I love Teslas, yes.
All right. What's your all-time favorite book? Just one.
For fiction, I think that I love the Harry Potter series.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed reading the Harry Potter series. I'm just amazed at J.K. Rowling's very deep creativity and how she can think about all of these things.
Yeah.
And so I'd say that the Harry Potter series was my all-time favorite.
All right. So we are curious, not just me, together with my viewers.
Hi, viewers.
We are curious to know what you're gonna cook for us today. And for me, the favorite aspect of this show is that Isaac gets to cook, he gets to serve me, and Charlie, I get to enjoy.
I'm really scared.
We are so happy to have you here.
Please.
We are so happy.
I already gave you a disclaimer. No, I am giving my disclaimer.
Okay.
This could go wrong, very, very wrong.
I don't think so.
Let's see.
All right. So what are you going to cook for us today?
What am I cooking? What's the scientific name for wachi?
Charlie, you mentioned a rock like that.
I am cooking. Wait. How would a gay girl say wache? You know how these gay girls have this weird way of unnecessarily complicating the common foods that we all eat. Let's see. A homogeneous mixture of Oryza sativa and this what is the scientific name? Oryza sativa and cowpea species mixed with an amalgamation of sauce and powerful African grounded. What is the botanical name of shito? Yeah, anyway, you get it. So I'm going to be attempting to make wache spaghetti. Is it pasta or spaghetti?
Pasta.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Wache, pasta, and gari.
Charlie, I'm just happy as you are right now. We're not going to waste much time. We are just going to dive into the cooking session. But before that, we are going to wash our hands first before we start cooking. All right, Sesi, please join me whilst we go and wash our hands.
So, these are my ingredients for today. I have my rice.
Okay.
I have my black-eyed peas, otherwise known as beans, otherwise known as uncooked gobe. And these are the leaves. I don't know what they are called in English, but this is what gives the wache its color.
Okay.
Then for my stew, I have fresh tomatoes, pepper, tin tomatoes, onions, ginger, garlic, and then tuna and some dried fish.
Okay.
I have also fresh fish, red fish here that we're going to be frying, and then some vegetables here. I also have some pasta, and some gari, and some sunflower oil, and some eggs. So let's see how all of these come together to form something that doesn't give you running stomach.
Okay, so which one are you going to start with? Is it the wache or the stew?
I think we are going to obviously want to cook the beans first, or put the beans on fire.
All right.
And while the beans is on fire, we can start with the stew.
Okay.
And hopefully by the time the whole wache is done, the stew is also done, and then we're ready to serve.
All right, great. So let me just help you with water so that you can wash your beans. Yeah.
So the first thing we're going to cook is the beans, because that takes a longer time to cook, and yeah, typically that's what we want to cook first. I am going to measure 4 scoops of the beans. 2, 3. More beans means more
rice,
more Imodium. 4.
That is it.
Yeah.
These beans, it wasn't full, so add small from there too.
All right, boss. Whatever you say. Okay. So next thing, we are going to wash our beans.
Okay. So how many times are you going to wash these beans?
I just wash it once.
Okay.
Yeah. So I already have my water in here. I'm going to light this.
Let there be light.
And there was light. And I will scoop in my beans. These leaves are what give the wache its distinct color. I don't know what they are called in English. English, we just call them matcha leaves. So I'm going to wash this. But we'll just put this into 2 and put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
I really haven't figured out what quantity is ideal for the color, and so I just put whatever quantity I feel like putting. Yeah, but I think this should be enough, and we should get our red color as the brownish, reddish brown color as the leaves diffuse into the water. I mean, I might just...
You mean the color of the leaves?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was a kid, my mom actually used to cook these, and she said it was a source of... It was like a local blood tonic. Yeah.
And did it actually work?
Well, I wasn't the one she used to sell it, and I never drank some, so I used to fight with my mom when it came to medicine. So the next thing I want to do is I want to blend some of my vegetables. I'm going to be blending. Sorry, I meant my spices. I'm going to be blending. Is onion a vegetable or a spice or whatever?
Both.
Whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to be blending some of my things over here. So I have the onions, the ginger, and the garlic. I will also add the pepper.
Okay.
I'm going to be careful with the pepper because too much of it is going to, you know what happens when you have too much pepper.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is fine.
All right.
Okay. Let's throw in the peppers. Let's throw in the garlic.
Okay.
Probably want to break this into smaller pieces. Onions make me cry a lot, so typically the technique I use when I'm chopping them is I chop them in water. And the reason why onions make you cry is because they contain sulfur. Yeah, that's some big brain Wikipedia reading. So we're going to blend them anyway, so it really doesn't matter how you chop them. I just want to make it easy to blend.
All right.
So now that we have everything in here, we're going to take it to the blender and turn it into a nice puree.
All right.
This is a very fancy blender.
Oh, thank you.
So we have our blended onion and ginger and pepper over here.
But I've been wondering, can you share with us your educational background, because I know that you attended some of the most high schools in Ghana here. I think I would really love for you to share your background with us whilst you continue to cook.
So I started my basic education in a school called King of Kings International School in Jowu. Yes.
Here in Accra.
In Accra. Then we moved to Kaswa.
Which part of Kaswa?
A place called Kakraba.
Oh.
Yes.
I've lived there before.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Which part of Kakraba did you live? Kakraba did you live?
How do you Adade?
Oh, Adade.
Yes, Adade.
I used to do space to space in Adade.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think we'll go there.
I know everybody has phones now, so no one can do space to space. So I went to in Kaswa. I went to the Lord is my Shepherd Educational Center.
You don't say.
Yeah, I went there.
Oh, that's so nice.
Then after that, I went to Infantipim School.
Okay.
Yes, that was my first choice.
I guess you were Shako.
Well, I was okay.
To get through to Infantipim, then I know that you have all the brains.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tried small.
Okay.
So, after Infantipim, I studied science, and then I went to KNUST to do electrical engineering.
Okay.
And yeah, so far so good. I don't think I'm going to go to school again. Yes, I'm tired of. I love education, but school is not really something that being in school, in the traditional sense of it, is not something that I'm really passionate
about.
Yes.
And with the help of online courses, I know that we are all leveraging on that particular resources to update ourselves, so it doesn't really matter anymore. Yeah,
true. I think I got more value from learning online than I actually did get from going to school. Yes. So I'm going to put my onions in my oil, but I have to turn on the gas first. Small. Yeah. The Papa. It's really messy. Never me from this thing. Okay.
I think check this away here. Okay. Yes, that was my first choice. I guess you were Shako.
Well, I was okay.
To get through to Infantipim, then I know that you have all the brains.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tried small.
Okay.
So, after Infantipim, I studied science, and then I went to KNUST to do electrical engineering.
Okay.
And yeah, so far so good. I don't think I'm going to go to school again. Yes, I'm tired of. I love education, but school is not really something that being in school, in the traditional sense of it, is not something that I'm really passionate about. Yes.
And with the help of online courses, I know that we are all leveraging on that particular resources to update ourselves, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, true. I think I got more value from learning online than I actually did get from going to school. Yes. So I'm going to put my onions in my oil, but I have to turn on the gas first. And anyway.
Alright.
Let's see how our beans is doing.
Personal development. And through your profile on your website, one thing I realized was that you turned so many ideas of yours into a business. Now here comes the upcoming generation who are passionate about venturing into the tech and entrepreneurship ecosystem, but yet they have fears in turning their ideas into a business, or even they don't even know how to even turn their ideas into a business. So from your own experience, what do you advise? Or could you even, walk us through how your company started, like how you turned them into a business?
Well, so I'd say that my company started out of necessity. And a lot of the things that I did came out of a certain need that I identified. So let me talk about my way back. While I was still in JHS, I was running a space-to-space business. We had a phone that would be taken around to people's houses to ask them if they will make calls. And there are times that I would sit by the roadside for people to pass by and then say they want to make calls, and then we charge them for making calls. And that came out of necessity because I needed to raise money to pay my school fees. So we also realized that there was a lack of phones were not popular. That was back in 2005, 2006. Phones were not so popular then. Like they are so widespread now. Now the whole concept of space to space is even dead. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
But back then it was a real need. People needed to make calls, and then I had a phone. And this was I got the phone through someone who had sent me money to pay part of my fees, and I thought that, well, if I bought a phone, I could use it to run a business, and that business will yield some income to be able to pay the fees. So that's what I did. And so that was like the first business I actually started. The second one was back in high school, in Infantipim school, where I was a technical drawing student.
Okay.
And we had, let me stare this while I speak. I was a technical drawing student, and then we had technical drawing lessons, which required us to use drawing sheets. But then in the whole school, there was nowhere you could get drawing sheets to buy. And I was a prefect at the time, so I could go out to town and then come in at will. And so I started a business where I would go out, buy drawing sheets, like a stack of drawing sheets, and come and sell at a good margin. And so that was also in response to a need that I had identified that was not being solved. And after that, I started a business with my friend. We saw an ad. At the time, external hard drives, pen drives, those were very expensive. And my friend, who was my dorm mate, he saw an ad where there was a company that was selling pen drives, external hard drives for very cheap at the time. So we're like, maybe we could also do this, because we knew that pen drives, external hard drives were things that people wanted at the time. So we went to people and told them, I went to town and I printed these posters that said we're selling external hard drives, pen drives. And we pasted those posters around the dining hall and other places. Yeah, so we told people that they should bring their money, and then we'll get the pen drives for them later. And because my friend and I were kind of like, we were considered as good guys, so people were willing to give us the money for us to go buy the pen drives. So we'll gather like 10 people, the money for 10 people, we'll go to Accra, and then we'll buy the pen drives, and then we'll bring it back and sell at like 2 times, 3 times the cost price. So that was where it all started. And then it's carried on to the university, where I founded 3 companies. Invent Electronics, that came as a result of me identifying that as an electronic engineering student, there was nowhere I could get electronic components to buy. So I built the first online store in Ghana to sell electronic components, resistors, capacitors, and things that typically engineering students will use to do their projects. So the way I have approached it is to solve problems. Yeah, to look for problems or opportunities where we could provide some value that people were willing to pay for. I think the problem a lot of people have nowadays is that they have an idea in mind, and then they are trying to find a problem to fit that idea, which is not how it should be done. Yeah,
that's true.
What should be done is you identify a problem, and then you develop a solution to solve that problem. And the only way that can become a business is if your solution meets a real need, and if people are willing to pay for that solution. And so always when people come to me and ask me how I have this idea, how can I turn it into a business, I tell them, does your idea solve a real problem? What's your proposed solution? Are people willing to pay for it? It is very, very important. So that has been my approach to turning ideas into businesses. My ideas come from my environment. the people I speak to, the problems I identify, and then I look at the potential and the viability for this, and then I build what we call an MVP or a minimum viable product out of it, and then from there it becomes a business, and that's what I have been doing all along.
Yeah.
So our beans is ready now. It's soft enough, so we're going to.
Your beans, is it still hard or soft?
It's soft.
Can I try?
You can try.
All right. Okay. Should I do max?
No, wait for me to finish before you do next.
All right.
Yeah.
No comments.
So I'm going to
what
put
are you
in
up to
my
now? Putting
rice.
your rice inside.
Yes, I would.
Do you want to wash it first or not?
Yes, I wash
I
it
prefer
first.
not to really wash my rice, depending on the brand that I'm using.
Okay.
How about you?
I prefer to wash my rice.
Okay.
It removes excess starch, and I think that it's also, don't quote me on this one, but washing is just generally better. Because some, what do you call this? I think arsenic and some other stuff, the levels go down. But don't quote me on this. I have to go and verify.
Alright.
Yes.
Please do. Okay. Once you identify a solution to a problem, and you want to, start executing on that idea in terms of turning it into a business, what are some of the tools and resources, right, to help you get started?
I think it depends on what exactly you want to do.
Okay.
Every kind of business comes with its own needs in terms of tools, in terms of resources that you need.
Okay.
Typically, I am an advocate for leveraging free online resources to get your business kick-started. So, let me give you an example. I'll give you an example of tools that I used or that I use for different kinds of businesses that I run. Let me start with Event Electronics, my electronics online electronics store. There are a number of tools that we use. We used Wave Accounting to keep our accounts, and Wave is a free accounting software that you can just start using for your business. We use Haptel's SMS service to send SMS to customers, especially when their orders are processing or have been received or have been shipped. We used HubSpot, which is a customer relationship management tool. So when people sign up on our site, their details go into HubSpot, and we can send them marketing emails and other things. We can know when someone opens our email and do the appropriate follow-ups. We use MailChimp to send newsletters and updates to our customers. We use Hootsuite. So Hootsuite is a social media management tool that lets you schedule your social media posts in advance. We used, what else do we use? There are so many of them. Yeah. So these are all free tools, and these are called software as a service tools. And typically, how they usually work is you have a free tier. They run a freemium model where you have a free tier that you can use, And when your company becomes big and you outgrow those resources, you can subscribe to higher tiers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I really recommend that for every kind of business that you want to do, you look at what tools that are available for you to use, and then take advantage of them. For communication, we use Slack. For project management, we use Trello. For my software, for Sesi Technologies, where we do a bit of software, we use Jira and Bitbucket. And these are all free tools that we're using. We use another tool called Monster to try and capture leads. And so no matter what you want to do, you will find at least some tools and resources that are available to you to supercharge your business.
All right. That's great.
Yes. So the next thing I want to do is to add our tomatoes in there.
I like that one. Good one. I think I will help you with your fish, your red fish. I'll help you fry that. And then they don't know when to stand here, measure your distance from where you're standing to where the pot is. Then shoot. But for me, because of experience, oh God, this is looking good.
Do you like your stew?
All right. Another question that lots of young startups, right, founders, do ask me whenever I go for these coaching events and this kind of stuff is that, is it advisable for a young startup, to have a board members once they do this step?
Well, for me, I think that in the beginning, there is no right or wrong answer to this. It's like what works for you. Having a board means that you have to, that there's a whole formal process of setting up a board that introduces some administrative complexities into your startup. At a very, very, very early stage when you start, I don't think a board is necessary. You can have people you are considering to be on your board who may be informal advisors to you in the beginning. But as you continue to build traction, then these are things that you need to start considering. If you want to raise funding, however, then a board is absolutely necessary because you have to have your governance structures set up properly. So from the early stage, just get a set of informal advisors. As you go on, then you establish a board. Now you should establish a board because you believe that the board is going to add value to your business, not just because you need a board. Because setting up a board comes with work. You have to have regular board meetings, you have to write reports, and these are things that, administrative things that could distract you from being able to move fast. So you bring in a board when it is very necessary. Yes, but I would say that within your first year, you should establish the board.
Within your first year.
Yes.
All right. Well, okay. And speaking about investment, that's also another topic for another day. But as the CEO of Sesi Technologies, right? You've been, experiencing investors day in and day out, whether being a venture capitalist, whether being whatever. I want to ask, what are some of the skill sets a founder needs to have before going in, to raise a fund or even think about bringing investors on board to help him, capitalize his company?
I don't think it's a skill set specifically per se. I think that when you're looking to raise funding, there are a lot of things that a typical investor wants to know, or they need you to have before you can raise capital. So first of all, your business needs to be investment ready. And investment ready means that your project should fit in the profile that investors are looking for. Investors are looking for companies that with money can grow and scale to the point where it can either be sold or to go public. Going public is quite rare locally, but it should be a kind of business that is scalable, such that once the fundamentals are right, and then the funds come in there, the funds can help the company grow. Okay? A restaurant business is typically not scalable because the costs will scale with the cost of running the business or acquiring new customers scales. How do I put it? Let me just give an explanation.
Okay.
Assuming I have a restaurant business and I have 10 customers now. If I want to have 1,000 customers, I have to go build another restaurant. So then the capital costs, the scale with as the business scales, right? But however, a scalable business is one that at scale, the incremental cost of acquiring new customers is lower. So let's take a software business like this.
Yeah.
Once you build a software and people are using the software, let's say you have 100 people using the software. To get 100,000 people using the software, the cost of getting 100,000 people to use the software is very low, right? There will be server costs, there will be other things.
Is it very high or low?
It's low. Yeah. Revenues scale exponentially compared to the costs. I think that's what I was trying to say. That for a business to fit that profile, investors are looking for businesses whose revenues and profits scale without the costs scaling alongside them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So aside that, they are looking for other things like you have a good team and the team executes, you have a good governance structure, what traction do you have a good business model, do you have a good business plan, how are you making money, what's your go-to-market strategy, and other things. All of these things have to be figured out before you even start looking for investors. I think one thing that most young entrepreneurs do is they start looking for money too quickly without doing their homework. Yeah. And a lot of young people think that once they have a good idea, they should get an investor to give them money. However, investors are not interested in finding ideas because there is a lot of risk. Anybody can have ideas. They want to see what you have done. They need to see the implementation of your idea. And to see where you have gone, what you have done, how far you have come. And to know that once you have the fundamentals right, when they give you money, you can take it to the next level. Because ideas are cheap, and most entrepreneurs focus too much on the idea rather than the execution. What is then? And I think I need to add a bit more water.
Would you need aluminum foil to cover it?
Yeah, that would be helpful. Okay. Let's see what we have.
Do you want the Maggi?
I want one of them Maggi.
So, yeah, the next session on this episode is pick and ice. Let me
Yeah, my
shake
acting.
it. Shake it.
My acting is
Shake it
terrible.
all for him, and then boom, the magic.
Remove it from there, let me take it from this side. Oh God. Okay.
All right. Robots. Okay. V. All right. Developer. The developer is pissed off. Okay.
Yeah. Frustrated developer.
Frustrated. All right.
Yeah.
So I think we are done.
Yeah.
We will save this for another time when you come to our show.
Yeah.
Alright, so at this point, it is time for me to eat your food. And I'll leave this part for you to serve me. I get to taste it then.
Alright.
I think we need our chair.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so my lovely viewers, as you can see, Isaac is done cooking for me, your test chef. And at this point, it is time for him to serve me, and I get to chop it. Then I'll give him his feedback.
Chop it.
Yeah, chop. Chop the food. Not the other one, know what you're thinking about.
No, I'm not thinking anything.
So okay, I leave the rest of the show for you to continue.
Alright, moment of truth. The gods of our ancestors.
Amen.
Smile upon me.
I mean,
Okay, so start from here.
Think that will be okay for me.
Okay.
Agent, you would give me bro.
Nothing.
Taste now, okay. Okay, I know what you're saying. A crabby.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's show you the sugar. Let's put it beside the stew.
Small sugar, small ones. That's fine.
Okay.
I'll wait
There you
for
are.
you to serve yourself.
No. You eat first.
No, Isaac, serve yourself so that I can, or you want me to serve you?
No.
Okay. All right.
Moment of truth.
I think I want a little mayonnaise. Just put fresh small anyway, they're tomato and full.
All right.
Isaac is done serving, right? And at this point, you want to eat some of the food, but your mouth or your tongue can't taste this lovely stew. I'm yet to taste the dough to know how it's gonna taste. Whether I reserve my comments.
Right.
However, I can see gari, I can see pasta, I can see vegetables, yeah. I can see fish, fried fish. I like the golden, no, is it good? Not golden, yeah. The color of the fish, how brown it is. And I also, the stew actually smells good, I must be honest. The aroma of the stew is, oh la la la. So Isaac.
Hi.
Thank you very much for being the first guest to be on TechChef Africa show.
Finally, all of this is over. I am petrified. I'm petrified. I'm happy that we're finally at the eating point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we love what you shared with us, your journey, and also some of the tips and bits that you also gave to, some of our aspirant tech entrepreneurs who want to, start a career, or maybe they want to start their business. It's more of like turning their ideas into a business.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just go straight, taste your food, and give you my honest feedback. Okay, so let start with me.
All up to you, madam.
I want to say that make me camera crew for her chef. I want person one on anchor into no material. Let me see. Because I'm not a fan of Gary, I'll start with the Gary first.
Really? So that the Gary mess up your taste buds?
No. I don't know. A pepper menu first. Alright. Okay. Oh. Stop looking at me that awkward. Okay. The stew is good. I must be honest. The stew is dope. The salt, the pepper, almost everything. The soup. Or the stew.
The gods have smiled on me.
Now let me try your watching with the shaker.
Vindicated.
Let me see this.
The shito has, I hope you're cutting this one out. The shito has nothing to do with me.
Okay. Perfect. But I think I can eat more with the stew than the shito. Your stew tastes good. So thank you very much once again for being on our show. We really appreciate you for your time. All the way from Kumasi to Accra, Charlie. God bless you. And yeah, before we continue with our food and end this show, What are your last advice to the upcoming tech entrepreneurs or youth who are trying to pursue career in tech and entrepreneurship?
Thank you very much for having me. My last bit of advice, as you can see, I enjoy the whole process of making this food and the opportunity to share my knowledge in a fun way. And so what I want to tell tech entrepreneurs, upcoming entrepreneurs, is entrepreneurship can be fun. You should make hay out of even the bad times, and don't bury yourself too much inside of work, because you're going to feel all of the stress. Take some time off, do something fun, come back and build your business, because you realize that in tough times, when you take a break, you come back, your mind is refreshed, you're able to think about the problems in front of you and how to solve them. So I still enjoy my food. I have patented, I'm going to patent my stew formula. So have fun, enjoy the process of building your company, and yes, just don't forget to have fun in the process. Yeah, that's my last bit of advice.
All right. So I believe we've all heard him. Have fun. And that's the main purpose for this show, right? We are trying to bridge the gap when it comes to how tech entrepreneurs share their story to the upcoming, youth or people who want to start a career in tech. So have fun, but at the same time, make sure that whatever that you are pursuing in life, you put in all the hard work, and everything that you can do to make sure that you succeed in life. Just do it. It's important to take risks, but in as much as we are taking risks, just have fun along the way. So thank you so much. Thank you, Isaac, for being on this show. And hey, see you all in our next episode. Bye.
Bye.